Right. Hi, my name's Diana Storey, and I live in Sheffield, and I've been mosaicing for the last 21 years, and I'm going to tell you today about some of the stories behind some of my mosaics in an upcoming exhibition I'm part of at Exchange Place Studios in Sheffield. It's like a sister studio to Coralie Studio. She's at Persistence Works, and I'm at Exchange Place. And the exhibition's called Birdsong in Winter. Okay, so this is my head in the mornings, basically, in a good way. I'm a lark, and I love my chronotype. Not for me, I don't do mornings. It's a magical time before the busy full glare of the day, the best time for lucid thoughts, and it's in that liminal space that a strange process goes on in my head where my subconscious feeds my conscious. So it's only after I've made a mosaic that I kind of realise why I've made it. So these are 24 blackbirds I've done for the exhibition. I've yet to make the pie. I love blackbirds. They're absolutely my favourite bird. I love its sweet, melodious song at dawn and dusk. And over the years, in all sorts of places, the blackbird has actually been a friend singing away, a simple symbol to me of joy and reassurance. Okay, so this piece was a commission for an Afro-Caribbean hairdressers in Sheffield. And whilst I was doing it, my partner was practising the Beatles song on his guitar. Now, I know the Paul McCartney song was made for the civil rights movement, but there's a line in there, I was only waiting for this moment to arrive, which resonates with me quite poignantly. There's a bit of detail there. I love also the line, blackbirds singing at the dead of night, which they do optimistically and full of hope in their hearts. It also looks a bit like a blackbird nest, and the blackbirds are really good at making nests. Okay. Well, I've had rather a rocky road of relationships over the last 10 years. I'm in a nice one now. And the next story kind of encapsulates this. So this was CLARA, who I made lovingly. I absolutely loved her to pieces. And one dark night, she was actually smashed to bits. I think the words he said were, "It could have been you." I was absolutely devastated and put her broken bits in a box. Now, a few years later, on feeling stronger, I began to restore her and put her on a clock face, time heals and all that, and surrounded her with roses. Now, one early morning, I was listening to the radio. Radio 4 is my constant, and it featured the ORPHEAN warbler, which is coming up in a minute. Here he is. So called after the master musician of Greek mythology, Orpheus. Now, Orpheus met his end at the hands of Dionysus' wild followers, the Maenads, and according to legend, they threw his severed head into the sea, and he was washed up, still singing, on Lesbos. So, there you go, there he is, singing away. So maybe the voice of Orpheus was transformed into the song of this little bird, and CLARA is Orpheus reborn and singing away, singing a song. She's triumphant now. I like to put them together, actually, because that's kind of makes sense of it. So this is Grace, given to me by Nikki, thank you. Sophisticated, elegant Grace, who last December was selected to be in a show in New York. Whoa. So I packed her up and sent her to the gallery, then flew to New York with my octogenarian mum, and we had a howl celebrating her 80th. And then I had a call from the gallery saying that, like Thomas's piece, she'd been damaged. So I spent a frenzied afternoon mending her, transforming her into 2 new pieces, sending my mum out on the streets of New York looking for gold paint and glue and all sorts of things. Et voila. I unwittingly made her into this piece. I kind of hit the zeitgeist without knowing it, because all the other galleries in Chelsea and New York had these headless torsos. So it's like, whoa, okay. So this is EVELYN, ex-rocking horse. Now, back in the 80s, I was a student here in York, actually, studying history. I didn't go to art college. And as I've got older, historical events kind of inform my work. So here we've got Napoleon, the Romans, anti-slavery, anti-fox hunting, Freddie Mercury. And you can't quite see her, but somewhere hiding there is Emily Davison. So this is IMELDA May. Now, IMELDA May, I love her. She's both triumphant and a little bit sad, fierce but fragile. She's got bruises, but also blossoms. I made her in mirror to symbolize our fragility, but also when you look inside her, you can see yourself reflected back. And it's rather a quiet reminder that violence and domestic abuse can happen to any one of us. Okay, so this is CARMEN, happy, joyous. After quite a traumatic time, I'm free. She's free. She's got a bird on her head. She's great. And as Goethe said, you only know you're in prison till you escape. So she's just happy. you know. She's also resident of Spain, which I really love. This is another example, this hummingbird, of Kierkegaard's maxim, you live your life forwards, but understand it backwards. So I created this hummingbird, and then lo and behold, found out that the hummingbird totem encourages us to enjoy life, to keep ourselves light and free, preserve our energies. Very important that, especially for women. To enjoy our precious time on the planet because it's so fleeting. So these are what my daughter calls the crazes. Okay, I have this thing, a kind of offshoot synesthesia thing, whereby in moments of high stress, cortisone release makes me see humans with birds or animal heads. Imagine what I'm seeing out there now. So I translate into these little guys, of which I have many, so they're going into the exhibition. This one is fairly self-explanatory. I'm making a catalogue of conversations and dialogues with my figurines, and this is one of my favourite exchanges. This feisty little lady ain't going to take any shit anymore. Can I say that? Maybe, I just did. Okay. I've got a whole load of them, and they're going into a nice catalogue, doing their own thing. She's great, isn't she? Yeah. So this is Odette, or ODETTA, actually, as seen in the exhibition. A couple of months ago, I found two rather shabby planters in an old florist in Sheffield and set about dressing them up in their finest finery, one white, one black. It was great fun. I actually felt like Versace or something, dressing them up. So the alchemy of being drawn towards these two swans was very interesting. It was a kind of, they symbolise triumph, majesty, mythological status of being queen of the water birds, and it seemed very apt to kind of self-actualisation, if you will. So there they are. And they're going to be on pillars for my exhibition, like a couple of drag queens welcoming people in. And finally, and finally, as we hurtle through the universe, creating beautiful things from fragmented and broken pieces in that wonderful healing process, which is mosaicing, it pays to remember, with all the ups and downs, the dark and the light places, the realizations and transformations, to listen to the birdsong and along the way take time to smell the flowers. Yeah.